So for this class, what you'll need is a pillow. So get yourselves a pillow to sit on if you want to, and also a blanket for the end for Shavasana. So if that wasn't recording at all just then, good morning. Hope everyone's well. If you want to grab yourselves a pillow, just to sit on at the beginning and also for Shavasana, and a blanket as well, again for Shavasana, and also just to place under your knee, because we're going to be doing, we're going to be coming to this position quite a bit, so if you want something to put underneath your knee, like a mat, or if you're on a rug it's probably okay, or a blanket. We'll start in a couple of minutes, and I'll just wait until the number stops going up for people being here. So if you've only just tuned in, get yourselves a pillow to sit on if you want. You can also sit on the couch if you want to start with, or bed, and also a blanket as well for Shavasana. It might also be worth, if you want to, grab yourself a big book or a yoga block if you've got one. We're going to be coming into this position, into a twist, so you just need to make sure that you've got your hand flat on the mat, but you don't need one if you don't have a book or a block or anything like that. You can always place your hand on your hip instead. So get yourselves in a comfortable seated position, and we'll start in about 30 seconds. If you feel like when you sat cross legs, your knees are quite high, just get yourself a few things to sit on so it elevates your hips a little bit, and it should hopefully mean your knees drop down a little bit more. Okay. We'll make a start. So if you've only just come on, make sure you've got something to sit on just to make yourself comfortable. You can sit across legs or you can sit on your knees. Although we're going to draw our shoulders up towards our ears. So bring your shoulders up high towards your ears as you can. And then send them all the way down and back. We'll do that 3 more times. So shrug the shoulders up to the ears. And then send them down and back. This time take a big inhale as you bring the shoulders up to the ears. Really fill the belly, fill the lungs. Exhale to send them all the way down and back. Last time, big inhale. Draw the shoulders up to the ears. And as you exhale, send the shoulders all the way down and back. Start to close your eyes if you haven't done already. Let your hands just be heavy on your knees, or you can bring the hands together at the heart center. Or you could place one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, or place both hands on the belly, both hands on the heart, just wherever feels comfortable. Just go with your first instinct. And just start to notice how your body feels today. So check it in physically. Noticing all the way from the crown of the head through to the tips of the toes, whether there's anywhere that feels a little bit tight. Especially when we've only just woken up, our body feels a bit tighter. So just start to notice those areas. Again, like, don't associate any labels, so don't label it as good or bad. Just noticing whether the shoulders feel tight. See if you can start to relax the face, so relax the forehead and relax the jaw. Maybe the mouth just falls open slightly. See if you can find a nice length in the spine. So you're trying to send the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, but you're keeping the shoulders down at the same time. And just start to notice the breath. So you don't need to change anything just yet. Just notice how the breath is moving around the body. So noticing whereabouts you can feel it the most, whether it's in the belly, whether it's in the chest, or the throat, or the nose. And just start to notice the length of the breath. So again, try not to change it, just noticing the lengths of the inhales and the lengths of the exhales. Maybe noticing whether it feels different from an evening, maybe it feels slower, maybe it feels quicker. And see if you can start to lengthen the breath. So with every inhale, start to draw in a little bit more air, so fill up the belly, fill up the lungs. And making the exhales even deeper, just letting it all go. inhaling to find length in the spine. So see if you can sit up a little bit taller with your inhales. And we're exhaling for softness. So bring the softness into the shoulders. Let the hands and the feet be heavy. Now see if you can start to equalize the length of the inhales and the exhales, so both of them become the same length. Maybe at the top of every inhale, hold it for a count or two. And do the same with every exhale. So when you finish the exhale, just hold it at the bottom for a second or 2 seconds. And then go back to that equal breath. We'll stay here for about 5 more rounds of breath in your own time. Take one more big inhale, fill up the belly, fill up the chest. And as you exhale, just start to softly blink the eyes open, let the shoulders be heavy. Just bring the right fingertips down onto the right side of the mat and drop your left ear down towards your left shoulder. We'll just bring a gentle stretch into the right side of the neck. If you want to intensify this, you can always place the left fingertips just on the head just to add that little bit of pressure. Have a play around with the position of your chin, so maybe dropping the chin down to the shoulder, maybe bringing the chin back up. Bring both hands back onto your knees, drop the chin down to the centre, and then take the right ear all the way over to the right. You can bring your left fingertips down onto the left side of the mat alongside you, or maybe place the right fingertips just on the head, just applying a little bit of pressure. If that feels too intense, you can always keep the right hand on the knee. Again, maybe just play around with the positioning of the chin, maybe drop the chin down, lift the chin up. Just notice where you can feel it the most. So maybe it's down the left side of the neck, maybe you can feel it into the top of the back as well, into the trapezius. Bring both hands back onto your knees, drop the chin down to the chest, and then use your hand on your head to just press your head back up to the centre to avoid straining your neck. Take an inhale, reach the right hand all the way up. As you exhale, we're going to reach the right hand over to the left and start to walk your left fingertips away from you on the mat. So you might just stay upright on that left hand, or you might come down onto that left forearm. Just keep pressing the right bum, the right butt cheek down into the mat. So try not to let that right sit bone rise up. Keep trying to twist the right chest up towards the ceiling, so we're not leaning forward, we're trying to open up towards the sky. Keep breathing, we'll stay here for 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, make your way all the way back up to centre. Take an inhale, reach the left hand up. Walk the right fingertips away from you on the mat, and then exhale to bring that left arm all the way up and over. Maybe staying on the right palm, the right fingertips, or dropping down onto that right forearm. Keep the length in that left arm, so try not to bend the left arm. Keep reaching that left arm up and overhead, and at the same time the left shoulder is moving backwards, so we're trying to get the chest to face up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing that left butt cheek down into the mat. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, make your way all the way back up through to the centre. If you were sat on the sofa, you might just want to come and sit down in a cross-legs position for this next one. We're going to start to crawl forwards over the legs. So bring your fingertips down to the mat and just start to fold forwards over your legs. This can be quite an intense stretch on the hips for some people, others will find it completely easy. If you're struggling, even just staying in this upright position is enough to get into the hips. If you want a little bit more, you can start to crawl forward and bring your chest down towards the mat. We'll hold it here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bring your hands back towards your legs. We're going to cross the legs the other way around, so whatever foot you had on the bottom, bring that foot onto the top. So it's probably going to feel a little bit weird. We'll do the same thing like this, so you can either just stay sat up here, or start to walk your hands forward in front, so you're folding forwards over the legs. And we'll stay here for another 3, 2, and 1. Start to bring your hands back towards the legs. Bring the soles of your feet flat in front of you, so your feet are as wide as the mat, so there's quite a big gap between the feet. If you were sat on a cushion, you might just want to get rid of it for this next one. We're going to start to get into the hips and work on some hip mobility. So there's 3 options for this one. First option, which is the hardest, is to stay sat upright like this with the knees bent and keep the hands either at the heart centre or out to the side. Second option, which is slightly easier, is to just bring the hands behind so you've got a little bit of support. Third option, which makes this easier still, is to just walk your hands even further back. So we're going to take a big inhale, and as you exhale, drop both knees over to the left hand side. So we're going to windmill the legs from left to right. Inhale, bring the knees all the way back up, and then exhale to drop the knees down to the right. So just keep working with this movement in your own time, bringing the knees up to the centre and then taking them back down to the other side. Check that when you're doing it, both knees are coming to meet the mat. So you don't want to stack the knees like this. You want both of them to be able to press down into the mat. We'll stay here for another 5, so just keep moving them from side to side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop both knees over to the right hand side. So check that you've got a 90-degree angle with both legs. The right shin wants to be parallel with the left thigh. The left ankle wants to be in line with the left knee, and the right ankle wants to be in line with the right knee. So we're kind of coming into this modified version of pigeon. Sit up nice and tall, and then just twist your chest over towards the right thigh. We're going to start to fold forwards over that right leg. So start to walk your fingertips over that right thigh. Your chest might meet that right leg, or you might be sat quite upright like this, just as long as you can feel the stretch in the hips. If you can't feel anything, you can make it a little bit harder by shuffling that right heel a little bit further forwards. And have a play around with the positioning of your chest. So you might just need to shift over to the left, you might just need to come over to the right. This will feel different depending on where you're tighter, so just have a play around and see where you can feel the stretch. We're going to hold it here for 3 breaths, so really try to slow the breath down here. Big inhales in through the nose. And big exhales out. 2 more deep breaths like that. With every exhale, see if you can just sink into the stretch a little bit more, see if you can relax into it. And on your next inhale, just make your way back up to the centre. We're going to do that on the other side, so this time take both knees over to the left hand side, so windmill the legs round. Check that the left shin is parallel with the right thigh. Left heel is in line with the left knee, and the right heel wants to be in line with the right knee. So sit up nice and tall and just twist your chest over towards the left thigh. Start to walk your fingertips forward, so you're folding over that left leg. Again, have a play around with where you can feel into this most. So you might just need to shuffle over to the right, you might need to stay over on the left. If you can't feel it, you can just move that left heel a little bit further forwards. And again, try and slow the breath down. So taking big inhales in through the nose. And big exhales with every exhale. See if you can relax into the stretch a little bit more. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. So try not to speed up the breath. On your next inhale, make your way back up to the centre. Place both feet flat onto the mat, bring the knees up to the centre. We're going to lower down onto our back, so try and move slowly, try not to rush down. We're going to lower 1 vertebrae down at a time, so the lower back is the first thing that meets. And then the middle back, then the chest, then the shoulders, and then we'll all arrive down on the mat. Hug the knees into the chest, give yourself a little hug. We're going to start to get into some abdominal work, but we've not got much this morning. So extend your hands up in front, flex the hands back towards the face. Pull your knees up towards the back of your arms, so your lower back is going to start to come up off the mat. It's like a reverse crunch, so we're trying to get the knees up towards the arms. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, start to extend the legs out, but keep pressing the lower back down into the mat. When you start to feel your lower back rising off the mat, just keep the knees bent and stay there. So with every inhale, start to bend your knees in towards your arms. The knees tap the arms, and then when you exhale to extend the legs out long, keep pressing that lower back down into the mat. Inhale, lift up the knees tap the arms. Exhale to extend the legs out long. Just stay here in your own time, working with your own breath. So with every inhale, we're pulling the knees in towards the arms, the lower back lifts. And with your exhale, extend the legs out as much as you can. Keep that lower back pressing down into the mat. We'll stay here for another 5, 4, 3, try not to speed it up, 2, and 1. Hug the knees into the chest. Just start to rock from side to side, massaging the lower back into the mat. Place your hands behind your legs. We're going to rock and roll forwards and backwards to bring ourselves up to a seated position. If you don't want to rock and roll on your spine, you can always just use your hands and your legs to walk there yourself, and we'll all meet sat down. So we're going to sit with our legs out long. You can keep your knees bent here. You just want to find a nice long spine. If you feel like your lower back's collapsing, you can always place a pillow underneath your sit bones again, just to give yourself a little bit of elevation. So keep the left leg out long or slightly bent. We're going to pull the right knee all the way up towards the chest. We're then going to cross the right leg over that left thigh and start to pull your right heel as close towards your left sit bone as you can. Keep drawing that knee, the right knee, in towards the chest, and keep sitting up nice and tall. So this is going to stretch the outside of that right thigh. There's the option to stay here, excuse me, or if you want a little bit more, bend that left knee, but make sure the right butt cheek meets the mat as well. So keep drawing that right knee in towards the chest. You can stay here, or if you want to bring it into a little bit more of a twist, bring the left hand onto the outside of the right knee, and then just use that left hand to guide your right shoulder backwards. The right fingertips can either stay on that right knee, or just place the right hand behind you so the fingertips are just brushing the floor. If you can't feel anything, maybe just pull that right heel a little bit closer towards that left butt cheek. So the closer you can get that foot towards your bum, the more you're going to be able to feel this. See if you can slow the breath down again with every inhale, trying to find a little bit more length in the spine, so trying to sit up. And with every exhale, see if you can twist into this a little bit more. If you're not twisting, just see if you can draw the knee in towards the chest a little bit more. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. And release. Bring that left leg back out long if you had it bent. Uncross the right leg and then extend that right leg out long. This time bring the left knee into the chest and then cross that left knee over the right thigh. Bring that right heel as close towards your right sit bone as you can. Either stay here or bend that right knee and make sure that the left butt cheek meets the mat as well. Interlace the hands around that left knee. You can stay here, or if you want to get into that twist, place the right hand onto the outside of the left knee and then just use the right hand to draw your left shoulder backwards. The left hand can either stay on the leg or bring the left hand just on the mat behind you, so the fingertips are just brushing the floor. With every inhale, see if you can sit up a little bit taller. With every exhale, just see if you can twist over that left shoulder a little bit more. If you can't feel it in that left hip, see if you can pull that right heel a little bit closer towards your sit bones. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths, so big inhales in and deeper exhales out. 1 more just like that. And as you exhale, come back to the center. Straighten out that right leg if you had it bent. Uncross the legs, and then we'll make our way into a tabletop position. So you're coming onto all fours. So find this strong, tabletop position. The hands are underneath the shoulders. The knees are as wide as the hips. The toes tuck under. we're going to start to get into some hip mobility work. So bring the right knee, I'll spin this round, bring the right knee up towards the right elbow. So you're bringing that right knee as close towards the right elbow as you can. Keep the right foot flexed and then send that right leg all the way up. So the right sole of the foot is facing up towards the sky. We're going to bend that right knee, bring that right knee out to the side, and then circle into that hip by bringing the right knee towards the right elbow. We'll do the same thing in the opposite direction. So we start by taking that right knee up to the side. Make a big circle in that hip so that the right sole of the foot is facing up towards the sky. And then squeeze that right knee as close towards your right elbow as you can. We'll do 2 more like that. So start by taking that right foot back. Make a big circle, bring the right knee all the way around so that it taps the right elbow. And then take it all the way up to the side, up towards the ceiling. And then sweep it through to tap that right elbow. We'll do 2 more, so 1 on each direction. Take the leg up to start with. Bring it out to the side. Really move into that hip joint as much as you can. Right knee taps the right elbow. And then take it all the way up. Sole of the foot faces the sky. Knee sweeps through to tap the elbow. And then on this time we'll extend the right leg out long. So flex the right foot. Bring that right foot over to the left. So the right foot is crossing over the left leg. Drop the right knee down so the legs are crossed. And then start to bring your chest down towards the mat. So push your bum upwards. This will bring a stretch into the hips. You can either stay upright on your hands, drop down onto your forearms, or bring your chest down towards the mat. See if you can slow the breath down here. So big inhales in through the nose. And big exhales back out. Slowly make your way back into that tabletop position. So you're coming up onto the hands and then uncross the legs. So you've got the same thing on the left side. So in your all fours position, the toes are tucked under. We hold the left knee off the mat and then bring that left knee as close towards the left elbow as you can. Take that left knee up to the side and then make a big circle with that left leg. So the foot is flexed, the sole of the foot faces the sky. And then shuffle that left knee as close towards the left elbow as you can. Do that in the opposite direction. So we start by going upwards first. The knee comes out to the left, making a big circle to tap the left knee onto the left elbow. 2 more like that. So take it up to the side, bend the knee so the left foot points upwards, and then sweep the left knee in towards the elbow. Last one like that. Bring the leg all the way up, take it out to the side, really move into that hip joint, knee taps the elbow, take it all the way out to the side, up so it faces the sky, and then finally sweeping that left knee through to tap the left elbow. Extend the left leg out long and then bring the left toes over the right leg. So the left toes are tapping down onto the outside of that right leg. Drop both knees down and push the hips back. So you can stay here or start to walk the hands down either onto your forearms or coming down so that your head and your chest meet the mat. See if you can slow the breath down again here. Big inhales in through the nose. And big exhales, maybe sighing it out the mouth. Slowly make your way back to a tabletop position. The hands come underneath the shoulders. We uncross the legs. Tuck the toes under. Send the hips all the way up and back into your first downward facing dog. So just have a play around with this first one, bending the knees, moving around. Give the head a little bit of a shake, a little bit of a nod. Taking it in turn to bend each knee so you're moving into the hips. Maybe giving a couple of circles with the wrists. Just checking in how this downward dog feels this morning. Again, we might be a little bit tighter because it's the morning and we haven't moved around much, so moving anywhere that feels good for this one. And then we'll all start to find stillness when you're ready. So the feet are as wide as the hips and the hands are as wide as the shoulders. Let the head be heavy. If you feel like your back is rounding, just bend your knees and push the hips up towards the sky. Send the shoulders down away from the ears. Start to walk your hands backwards, so the hands are coming back to meet the feet at the back of the mat. Come up halfway, so place the hands onto the shins, lengthen the chest forward and push your bum backwards. Your chest wants to be parallel with the mat. Pull the belly button back towards the spine, so you're turning on those abdominal muscles. Micro bend the knees, take an inhale, bring the hands out in front, so the hands are coming up overhead. As you exhale, take the hands all the way back. Inhale, bring the hands up overhead. Exhale, take them all the way back. One more like that. Inhale, hands come up overhead. Exhale, take them all the way back. Bend the knees, place both hands onto the mat, and just walk forwards into a plank position. We're going to hold it here in this top plank position, so the hands are as wide as the shoulders stack over the wrists. Push the weight back through the heels, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your bum, and tuck the sit bones under. So you're trying to create this rounded position between the shoulder blades. If your lower back is arching, just drop your knees down onto the mat to give yourself a little bit of support. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths, so keep the breath nice and long, try not to hold the breath. Try not to let the head drop down, keep looking in between your hands to keep that length in the spine. We'll hold it here for another 3, 2, and 1. Drop down onto your forearms, so come down one forearm at a time. If your knees were lifted, drop the knees down, and then we'll all lower the hips down to the mat as well. Take an inhale to lift up the chest. So you're trying to shrug the shoulders down away from the ears. Keep squeezing your bum and untuck the toes so that the backs of the feet are pressing down into the mat. You're almost trying to pull your arms towards you on the mat to lift up the chest, so the body might shuffle forwards a little bit. Take one big inhale in through the nose. And as you exhale, bring the chest down towards the mat, bring the shoulders underneath, bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Toes tuck under, lift up the thighs, squeeze the bum, screw the elbows in, press yourself up into a plank position. So you might need to place the knees down onto the mat to keep your body stacked. From here, send the hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Take 5 big breaths in your downward facing dog, hands are spread wide. The spine is nice and long, so always bend the knees if you feel like your back is rounding. If your heels are near the floor, see if you can send your heels down a little bit more, but don't lose that length in the spine. See if you can slow the breath down here. Coming up onto the tiptoes, bend the knees, look in between your hands, so look where you're going. Step, hop or walk the feet in between the hands at the front of the mat. Take an inhale, halfway lift, either fingertips on the floor, on the shins, on the thighs. As you exhale, forward fold. See if you can fold forwards a little bit more over the legs, either bringing the hands to the mat, onto the calves, or you can take the hands back behind. With an inhale, micro bend the knees, lift the hands all the way up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, we're going to go straight back down. So bring the fingertips either down towards the mat, the shins, or bring them back behind. Inhale, halfway lift, coming up onto the fingertips, shins or thighs. As you exhale, place both hands down onto the mat. Take a big long lunge back with that right leg. And then drop the right knee down. Take an inhale, lift the hands up towards the sky. So this is where you might just want to place a blanket or something underneath that right knee just to give yourself a little bit of support. Keep squeezing your bum, so try not to let the hips sink forward like this. Keep everything really tight, the belly button pulls back towards the spine, sit bones tuck under, so you're trying to thrust your hips forward. Spread the fingertips wide, take a big inhale in through the nose, and as you exhale, bring the right hand forward, left hand back, so you're twisting over that left leg. Inhale, come back to the centre. Exhale, this time right hand comes back, left hand comes forward. Keep spreading the fingertips wide. Inhale, coming up to the centre. Exhale, take the hands back. Find the hamstring stretch here. We're not going to be here for long, so just push your hips back, the toes point up towards the ceiling. Inhale, bend that left knee back down, reach the hands up. As you exhale, the right hand comes down towards the mat, and then we press into that right hand to lift the left arm up towards the sky. If that right hand doesn't meet, you can always place it on a brick or a block, or just bring the right hand to the right hip. So you can either stay here, Or to get into the psoas, the hip flexors on that right side, start to bend the right knee. Option 1, which is the hardest, is to catch hold of the right foot with the left hand. So we're crossing the body, so it's a twisted lizard. If that is too much, what you can do instead is catch hold of the right foot with the right hand, so we're not coming into the twist. Another option, if you can't quite catch hold of that back foot, is to do this standing up. So we bend the right foot, bend the right knee, catch the right foot behind. You can always go and use a wall to stop you falling over. So we're going to stay here for about 5 breaths, so make sure that you're as comfortable as you can be. And again, find that slow breath. So with every inhale, seeing if you can lengthen the spine. And with every exhale, just see if you can melt into that stretch a little bit more. Take one more full inhale. If you had hold of that foot, slowly release that foot down. Bring both hands to the front of the mat, so shuffle that left foot in. Place both hands alongside the left foot. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee off the mat, and then step the right foot to meet the left foot at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bring both hands down towards the mat. This time step back with the left leg and drop that left knee down. Again, maybe placing a blanket underneath that left knee. Take an inhale to lift up the hands. Find the stretch for that left hip flexor by tucking the sit bones under. Pull the belly button back towards the spine. Try not to sink into that right knee. Keep everything really tight. The right knee is stacked over the right ankle. Spread the fingertips wide. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, extend the right arm back, left hand forward. So you're twisting over that right leg. Inhale, coming up to center. Exhaling to twist, right hand forward, left hand back. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, coming into the hamstring stretch, push the hips backwards. Inhale, bend that right foot down to the mat, lift up the hands. As you exhale, left hand comes down to the mat, right hand reaches up towards the sky. If that left hand doesn't meet the mat, you can always place that left hand onto the hips instead. So options from here. You can stay in this twist like this, or start to bend the left foot, catch hold of the left foot with the right hand. So we're crossing the body. Option 2, slightly easier. Left hand catches hold of the left foot. Option 3, to do this from standing. So you're balancing on that right leg, the left foot into the left hand, and maybe use a wall or something to help you balance. So we've got 5 breaths here, so make sure that you're in a comfortable position. Find that deep breath again, so big inhales in through the nose, and big exhales back out. It's quite easy to speed up the breath when we get into deep stretches like this, so see if you can keep that control, maybe coming back to that breath, that rhythm of breath that you found at the beginning of the class. Take one more big inhale. If you had hold of that left foot, slowly release that left foot down. Both hands are going to come alongside the right foot at the front of the mat, so shuffle that right foot across to the center. Tuck the left toes, lift the left knee off the mat. Take a big step so that the left foot comes to meet the right foot at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, hands come onto the shins, the mat, or take them all the way back. Inhale, micro bend the legs, bring the hands all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, we're going straight back down, bring the fingertips down towards the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips, shins or thighs. Exhale, place both hands down onto the mat, step or jump back to a plank position. There's the option to move straight back up into a downward dog or child's pose, or if you want to vinyasa, the hips and chest lower down to the mat at the same time. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, bring the chest back down towards the mat, tuck the toes under, lift up the thighs, squeeze the elbows in, press the hips up and back into a downward facing dog or come into a child's pose. We'll take 5 breaths wherever you are. So spread the shoulders away from the ears. Spread the hands wide. If you're in your downward facing dog, see if you can send the chest back towards the thighs a little bit more. Give the head a little shake, a little nod. If you're in your child's pose, make your way back up into a downward facing dog. Take an inhale, lift the right leg up into a three-legged dog. As you exhale, bend the right knee, sweep the right knee towards the chest. So you're making yourself into a little ball. The right knee is going to be placed alongside the right hand at the front of the mat. So you might just need to use your hand to guide that right foot through to the front of the mat. Drop the left heel down. So the left foot is down at a 45-degree angle. Press into that right foot and windmill the arms up into a warrior two. Shuffle the right foot across to the left so that the right heel is in line with the left toes, and take the arms out to a T. So just check that the ankles are as wide as the wrists. Pull the belly button backwards, bend into that right knee, and try and send that right knee out towards the right, but at the same time think about squaring off the hips. So the hips and the chest want to be facing the front, and your gaze just comes over the right arm. The arms are really active and strong. Flip the right hand, take an inhale and reach that right hand forward. As you exhale, reverse the warrior. The right hand comes up and overhead. The left hand can either be on the hip, on the thigh, or you can take the left hand behind your back. So you're trying to catch hold of that right hip. Exhale, bring the arms out to a T. Straighten the left leg and then just turn the toes in slightly. Place the hands onto the hips, inhale. As you exhale, push the hips all the way up and back, fold forwards, bring the hands down towards the mat. If your hands don't meet the mat, you can always keep the hands on the legs or just micro bend the legs as long as you can feel the stretch in those hamstrings. Take 3 big breaths in through the nose and back out through the nose. If your hands do meet the mat, press the hands into the mat to bring a little bit more depth into the stretch. On your next inhale, come up onto the fingertips. Exhale, place the hands onto the hips. And inhale, coming all the way back up to standing. Pivot on the feet, so the right foot is in front, the left foot is behind. Bend into that right knee, transfer all of your weight into that right leg. Start to hover the left foot off the mat. So you're coming into your warrior three position. Find your balance by looking at something still. Flex the feet, so really activate that left leg. Draw the quads up, so really squeeze the quads. Check that the hips are parallel with the mat, so the left hip hasn't started to rise up. The hands are either on the hips or at the heart center, out, in front or behind, just anywhere that helps you balance. Without dropping that left knee down, micro bend the right leg. Sweep the left knee up towards your chest, so the left knee is coming up as high as you can get it towards your chest. Micro bend the right leg and then cross the left leg over the right thigh. So you're coming into this figure four stretch. So option 1 is to stay here in this standing position. Option 2, you can always come and lay down on your back if it's too much to stand up. So if you're standing, I'm going to hold it here for about 5 breaths. So make sure you've got your balance. You can always use a wall to help you balance. If you want to test your balance, bring the hands up overhead. See if you can sink down to that right knee a little bit more. Holding it here for another 3. Keep that core activation so belly button pulls back towards the spine. 2. And 1. Straighten that right leg out and then extend the left leg back to your warrior 3. Micro bend the right leg, drop the left toes down towards the mat. Take an inhale, lift up the hands. As you exhale, bring both hands down towards the mat and drop that left knee down. We're going to move into a lizard stretch, which is quite an intense stretch for the hips, so if it gets too much, just pull out of it a little bit. Shuffle the right foot so it's on the right side of the mat. So the right foot is outside both of the hands. This might be enough of a stretch. If you've got any bricks or blocks, you can always place your hands onto them instead. Similarly, you can come onto the fists, just to give yourself a little bit of elevation there. From here, you can either stay here or start to walk the hands down. So you can come onto flats of the hands or maybe even coming down onto the forearms. If you want a little bit more, you can tuck the left toes and lift the left foot, the left knee off the mat as well. So just find somewhere that is challenging but not painful. And see if you can slow the breath down. So we're going to hold it here for about 5 breaths. If it does start to get too much, you can always just come out of it a little bit more. You can always keep the hands on the knees as well if it's too much to bring the hands down towards the mat. We'll stay here for another 3. So slowing the breath down. 2. Take one last big inhale in. And relax. So to make our way out of it, shuffle the right foot back to the centre of the mat. So the right foot is coming to the middle of the mat. The hands come on either side of that right leg. The left toes tuck under. Lift up that left leg. And then step the left foot to meet the right foot at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, going straight back down. Bring the fingertips down towards the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, both hands come alongside the feet. Step or jump back to a plank position. Option to move straight into a down dog or a child's pose, or vinyasa by lowering the hips and chest down to the mat at the same time. Untuck the toes. Inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, bring the chest back down towards the mat. Tuck the toes. Lift the thighs, press the hips up into a plank position, and then find a downward facing dog or a child's pose. Taking 5 big breaths wherever you are. Slowing the breath down. Spread the shoulders away from the ears. Let the head be heavy. We'll take one more breath wherever you are. If you were in your child's pose, make your way back up into a downward facing dog. With an inhale, lift up the left leg as high as you can, 3-legged dog. As you exhale, bend the left knee, sweep the left knee in towards the chest, and then gently with control, place the left foot alongside the left hand. Try and do it in one full sweep, or you can use the left hand to guide that left foot through. Take an inhale, come all the way up to standing, to the centre, and then drop that right heel down at a 45-degree angle. Windmill the hands up into a warrior 2. So your left leg is in front. Excuse me. Bend into that left knee and try and send that left knee out towards the left. Make sure that the right arch of the foot is lifting, so the outside of that right foot is pressing down into the mat. The arms are active. Hips and chest face the front, but your gaze just comes over that left arm. See if you can bend into that left knee a little bit more. Take an inhale, flip the left palm, reach the left hand forward, and as you exhale, reverse the warrior. Left hand comes up and overhead. Right hand is either on the thigh, on the hip, or you can bring the right hand behind, like you're trying to bind and catch hold of that left hip. Exhale, bring both hands out to a T shape. Straighten up the legs and then turn both feet out to the side so the toes are pointing out. We're going to come into goddess pose, so you can either keep your hands on your hips or bring the hands to the heart center. Make sure that you've got a really wide stance, like you're going to do a sumo squat, so the ankles are underneath the wrists. Take an inhale, send the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, squat down, so bring your hips down, trying to get them parallel with the knees. Keep pushing the knees out towards the side. Keep lifting up the chest. Squeeze your bum, so try not to let your bum flare backwards. Keep tucking the sit bones under and pull the belly button back and up. You can either stay here, or if you want to challenge your balance, challenge your quad strength, come up onto the tiptoes and see if you can sink down a little bit lower. If you're feeling extra yogi, you can take the mudra by pressing the thumb and the index finger together and bringing them out to the side. We'll hold it here for another 3. See if you can sink a little lower. 2. And 1. Drop the heels down if you have them lifted. Come all the way up to standing. Bring the hands down to the side. Pivot on the hips. This time the left leg is in front. Bend into that left knee. Take all of the weight into that left leg and then lift up that right foot. So find your warrior three. The legs are strong, activate the quads, flex the right foot. The hips are parallel with the mat, so try not to let that right hip rise up. Keep both hips square. Micro bend the left knee and sweep that right knee all the way up towards the chest, as high up towards the chest as you can get it. Micro bend the left leg and then cross the right foot over the left leg, so you're coming into this figure four stretch. If it's too much standing up, you can always do this laid down on your back instead. Keep lifting up the chest, keep sitting down into that left foot. Option to test your balance by lifting the hands up. Keep flexing that right foot, so keep the legs active. We'll stay here for another 3, 2, and 1. Release that right foot off the left leg. Extend the right foot back, find your warrior 3. Micro bend the left leg and then drop the right tiptoes down towards the mat. Take an inhale, lift up the hands. As you exhale, bring both hands down towards the mat and drop that right knee down. So from here we're going to come into that lizard stretch again. So shuffle the left foot so it's on the very outside edge of the mat. So it's right on the left side of the mat. Bring both hands inside the left foot. So this might be enough of a stretch. This might be enough of a stretch. There's the option to make it harder by dropping down onto the forearms. You can always place a brick or a book underneath the hands. Another option is to tuck the right toes and lift the right knee off the mat as well. So again, finding a place that challenges you but isn't painful. So this will stretch the hips. See if you can slow the breath down again here. Just check what's happening with your neck. Try not to let the neck fall heavy. Keep a nice long line in the spine so your gaze is just at the top of the mat. So you're just looking over your nose. Keep squeezing your glutes. So really squeeze that right glute, the right butt cheek. We'll stay here for another 3 breaths. Take one more big inhale here. And exhale. So we're going to make our way out of this stretch. So the first thing to do is shuffle that left foot back into the centre. Both hands are alongside the left foot. Tuck the right toes, lift that right leg up, and then step the right foot to meet the left foot at the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend the knees, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, going back down one last time. Bring the fingertips down towards the mat. Inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, place both hands onto the mat, step or jump back to a plank position. The hips and chest lower down to the mat at the same time, or come straight into a downward dog or a child's pose. Untuck the toes, inhale, lift up the chest. Exhale, bring the chest back down towards the mat. Tuck the toes under, lift up the thighs, squeeze the elbows in, press up into your plank position, and then send the hips up, either into a downward facing dog or take a child's pose. It's the last downward facing dog. So take 5 big breaths wherever you are. In through the nose. Maybe exhaling it out the mouth. If your heels are on the floor, see if you can start to lift up the tips of the toes to make it a little bit more challenging. The head is heavy, the shoulders are moving away from the ears. If you are in your child's pose, make your way up to a downward facing dog. We're going to jump from here into a squat position. So, well, option 1 is to jump. Option 2 is to step. If you're jumping, you come up onto your tiptoes, bend your knees, and then step the feet to the outside of the hands. So we're in a really deep squat. You're trying to get your bum below parallel. So the bum is moving further down than the knees. If this is really uncomfortable, you can place a brick or a block underneath your bum just to give yourself a little bit of support. We're not going to be here for long. So the elbows press into the inside of the thighs. The hands are together at the heart center or make a fist. Bring the thumb in towards the sternum. Try and squeeze your knees in towards your elbows. At the same time, you're pressing your elbows into the legs. Just checking in with your feet. So don't let the feet pronate inwards. Press onto the outside of the feet. So you're trying to lift the inner arches upwards. You can either stay here, or if you want to come into a twist, bring the right fingertips down to the mat. Lift the left hand up. Take one more big breath here. And then bring the hands back to the center. Same thing on the other side. The left hand comes onto the inside of that left leg. Reach the right arm up, holding it here for 2 big breaths. Last one. And release. We're going to come into a seated position. So if you can, from your Malasana squat, see if you can drop the bum down and bring the soles of the feet together. Take the knees out to the side. We'll finish off in this butterfly stretch, Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of the feet together. The knees want to be quite low. So you want to bring your feet as close towards your bum as you can. But if this means that the knees are coming up towards your shoulders, just walk the feet a little bit further forwards so that the knees can drop down a little bit more. Wherever you are, you can either catch hold of the soles of the feet, the ankles, or the shins, or the thighs. Sit up nice and tall, lengthen through the spine. As you exhale, just start to fold forward slightly over the legs. So you should be able to feel this stretch in the hips, maybe on the inside of the hamstrings as well. Try not to use your elbows to press the knees down. It's quite easy when the elbows meet the legs to use the elbows to draw them down, but try and just use the strength of the legs to press them down towards the mat. If you've got hold of your feet, see if you can turn the soles of the feet up towards the sky. So trying to turn the backs of the feet down towards the mat to lift the soles upwards. Slow the breath down. We'll stay here for another 3 breaths. With every inhale, see if you can find length in the spine. And with every exhale, just see if you can fold forwards a little bit more over the legs. Take one more final inhale. And exhale, make your way back up to the center. Place your hands underneath the knees and then use your hands to draw the knees up towards the chest. We'll make our way onto our backs. So place the soles of the feet flat onto the mat. The hands come alongside the legs. Slowly with control, it's the last bit of abdominal work. We're going to lower down onto the back. So the first thing that meets is the lower back, and then the middle back, and then the chest, and then the shoulders, and then the head. Bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug. Just rock from side to side gently on the mat. We're going to come into a happy baby before Shavasana, but if there's any other movements you want to take before Shavasana, feel free to do so. For your happy baby, the arms come on the inside of the legs and catch hold of the shins, the ankles, or the outside edges of the feet. Keep pressing your lower back down into the mat. And just start to rock from side to side, maybe moving the legs around a little bit, feeling into the body. So notice how the body feels here, whether it feels different from the beginning of the class. Maybe you feel a little bit more loose, maybe you don't, that's fine. And in your own time, start to make your way into Shavasana. So grab any blankets, any pillows that you want to use. We're going to extend the legs out long. If having the legs out long hurts the lower back, you can always keep the knees bent and just let the knees collapse in towards each other. Let your head be heavy, let your shoulders be heavy. Take the hands out to a T shape or place the hands on the belly, one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Just whatever feels most comfortable for you, just go with your first instinct. We're going to stay here for about 4 minutes. So get yourself nice and comfortable, take any last movements you want to take. We'll all take a big inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. Do that 2 more times. Big inhale in through the nose. Exhale, sigh out the mouth. 1 more just like that. Big inhale in through the nose. And exhale to sigh out. Let it all go. And just start to find stillness. Relax the forehead, relax the jaw. Let the shoulders be heavy. Let your hands and your feet be heavy wherever they are. Start to allow your breath to come back to its natural rhythm, so letting go of any control that you had over your breath. And just use these next couple of minutes to be completely still. So let the body sink into the mat, let the mind be empty. And just take these next couple of minutes for you. To bring your attention back into your body, start to wake up the body, make micro movements, wiggle fingers, wiggle the toes, make some circles with the wrists and the ankles. If you had your knees bent, extend the legs out long, bring the hands up overhead, take a long pencil stretch. Make yourself as long as you can, point the fingers, stretch the toes, point the toes, stretch the fingers. Bring the knees into the chest, give yourself a hug, make yourself into a little ball. Rock and roll either onto your left side or your right side into a fetal position, using the bottom arm as a pillow. Just take a moment here. Slowly making your way up to a comfortable seated position, just as we started the class, either on the knees or crossing the legs. I'm trying to keep the eyes soft or closed. When you find that comfortable position, sit up nice and tall, find that length in the spine. Bring the shoulders up towards the ears and send them all the way down. We'll do that one more time. Bring the shoulders all the way up towards the ears and send them all the way down and back. Either keeping the hands on the thighs or bring the hands to the heart center. Bow your chin down to your chest. Drop the head. Thank yourselves for taking an hour out of your Tuesday morning to come and practice, and thank your body for being strong and capable. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of Tuesday and a fabulous week. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely day. Let me know if you've got any questions. Hope you enjoyed it.